Are you one of the 75% of contractors whose financial statements are inaccurate? Find out. Click on the link in the show notes and you'll get a free P&L and balance sheet check.
This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Statements come alive and turn data into impactful graphs that help you see what is going on with your business. Go to www.financiallyfit.business and get started today. Thank you for joining us. Here's how we will help your business and you. Discipline, direction, done. My guest today, Beau Parenteau, lives by these three words, and he will discuss ways you can grow through better systems, marketing, and operation strategy. Beau runs a marketing agency in Denver focused on helping contractors and builders grow through discipline and direction. Beau, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Yeah, Ruth, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, you see stuff all the time through the marketing agency that you work with. The big question that always comes to mind is, how do I differentiate myself? I mean, if you go look and do a Google search for, you're in Denver, right? Or someplace in the Midwest, Denver, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Denver.
So, if we look and we do a Google search that basically says plumbers, Denver, how many come up? Hundreds.
Yeah, and I think that would be kind of ticket to entry. That's the biggest gap. I work with small business, medium size, less than 5 million revenue, and a big gap just even in that is being registered with Google. And that's a baseline kind of ticket to entry, but there's 70% of businesses are not even registered with Google. So that even that entry point is a gigantic leap to be found. And then the subsequent kind of social proof that can be supported with that presence.
Yeah, the thing that really is okay. So let's assume that we're now registered with Google, like 100 other contractors in Denver. All right. So okay, so now we're registered with Google. So we have the very basics for entry done, and then how I stand out from the other 99. Everybody says they have excellent customer service and excellent follow through and all that sort of fun stuff, but there's got to be some differentiators, right?
Absolutely. The biggest thing that I've seen work for contractors, remodelers, even flooring, just doing what they do best, and then being able to identify with that particular service and being able to be consistent over time. What we've found to be effective in producing that result is, articulating a consistent message to your customers. And that's through branding across your website, through the documents that you work with your customers, to the branding on your vehicles, but being able to be present and the same thing over and over is more effective than trying to do 50 different services and then focusing down. The market is big enough to dominate your individual niche. And so focusing on what it is that you do best is going to demonstrate results in the long term because, you know, economically, if the macro environment is positive or negative, there's always going to be individuals looking for someone that is excellent in their particular skill set. They'll have the disposable income. And so regardless, if you are the best at what you do in that area, that gives you that leeway available, and that word of mouth becomes the best form of marketing, supported with paid advertisement and social media. But the best way we found to do that is demonstrating that through a strategic vision or mission within the organization.
Well, you mentioned branding and you mentioned, their trucks and everything else like that. So how important is a color, a logo, a caricature, something to identify you versus everybody else?
I think it is most important that it be consistent over time because then it becomes brand recognition. There are studies on colors and emotions, and there is validity to that. But I think that the consistency of the presence of that logo on the trucks, on the shirts, on the documents, on the website, to see that is as identifiable as like the Nike swoosh. It's you identify with this and then this service, and the customer journey starts with awareness and just the presence of that logo or tagline being present in the community, in the environment in which the business is taking place, becomes that first step in the customer journey where awareness, they've seen it before. So the next time when you make contact or make a touch point, they've they recognize, maybe they don't even directly connect it, but they pin this to something that they've seen before, and there's a sense of familiarity with it.
Well, think about it this way, and I may be totally all wet and tell me if I am. So, we're one of 100 contractors registered with Google. So, with Google LSA or something like that that comes up, then let's say we have a cool logo, or we have purple and it's our colors, or purple and bright pink are our colors, or whatever, and a caricature that really stands out. So I saw the trucks with that on there, so that when I go do my Google search, then, aha, that's the familiarity that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've seen this truck in town. I went to Google, I searched it. Here's that thing that I've seen. So, the people assimilate a real thing with a real thing. And so they can make that. I mean, it's more tangible that way.
Yeah. So for those of you who think different colored trucks don't work, think again. I mean, there's a plumbing company in Atlanta, where I am, and they have pink trucks, and you never have to not seeing those pink trucks. I mean, that came to my mind when you were talking about all of this. It's like, okay, it's called the Pink Plumber with the pink trucks.
One pink stands out, and so that echoes. It's also loud. I mean, to the point of colors make a statement and sense emotion. Pink is not a common color, so you can make that recognition. So it's a bold statement. You got to commit to that color across everything. But if you do it, you can do it well. Absolutely.
Yeah. So for those of you who go, "Oh, you're rolling your eyes in the back of your head because you don't wanna do pink trucks," work. They absolutely do work. So before we take a break, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can visit my website at lifehaslevels.com, or they can reach out to me via email at beau, at lifehaslevels.com.
Very good. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. Imagine you had total freedom. You didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to be a slave to your business. The words "I can't" are eliminated from your vocabulary. What if you could do what you want to do, whenever you want to do it? A financially fit business could give you that freedom. How? By knowing what your financial statements are telling you and taking action based on what they say. You can do this in less than 10 minutes a month, at an investment of less than taking your family out to dinner once a month. And if your financial statements are a mess, you can get help. Go to www.financiallyfit.business or click on the QR code below to get started today. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I am here, with Beau Parenteau, and we are talking about, for all intents and purposes, identifying you against your competition, making you stand out against your competition, making you be noticeable, those types of things. So I wanted to talk during this segment about the thing that is everybody's mind and how do we use this, and that's AI, artificial intelligence. So can we, I'm sure we can use, I'm answering my own question. So how do we use AI for like a campaign optimist, a marketing optimization, or an advertising optimization, or something like that?
Yeah. AI is phenomenal. It can do many things. I found, word of caution with AI is it's going to give you the results that you want out of it. So going into and utilizing AI with a very specific plan, I assimilate it to going to like Costco for the first time. It's you have a plan, you're going to walk out with a bunch of value. If you don't go in with a plan, you're going to feel overwhelmed and come out with maybe you don't want to go back because it can do all of the things. Optimizing campaigns is a great way to leverage it if you utilize it to analyze the data and you have a sequence of questions that you ask it in the right order. And then when you go to, if we're talking creatives of ads, we'll say, copywriting or be it the visualization, it can, whether it's GPT, Claude, Gemini, analyze the image and identify certain points that, hey, this is what's recognized by the the broader market as better. I think the biggest thing is it needs significant context because it is basing everything on all of the things. It's a large language model that has been trained on everything, so it knows all of the things. And when you narrow it down to it don't want your brand to get lost, your identity, which is the most fundamental part of marketing, consistent in your identity so you can be true to what it is that's being proposed, where the models are probabilist. They're designed to give you the best probable outcome on words, and it measures it based on what it's learned on. And that's not always what you want to say, but it is good for if you have an ad and you want to make one tweak on it for an A/B test, then it's good for brainstorming in that way. But if you're setting it up and letting it run the show, that's not, it's not going to articulate what it is that you want, but then it can be used to kind of automate this process and give you a sequence that you want to roll out over time. And, you hear it a lot. It's good for an outline, and that is what it's good for. And you got to figure out how to make sure that you implement you into it.
So you mentioned 3 basically, Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. Are there differences amongst the 3, or am I gonna get exactly the same results on all 3?
Oh, there's absolutely differences. They're all super cool in their own way. And tailoring your questions, the prompt engineering is a whole construct. Giving it multiple prompts is good to set it up. You can set it up. ChatGPT is uh, uh, Gemini is the latest Gemini. I think does a very well orchestrated, and it's very big on the language and like because I think Google has all the information, so it has this very verbose output where GPT has a more of it. Way I see it is GPT kind of represents Microsoft. When you view Microsoft as an organization, you view Google as an organization, they kind of have those two different personalities. Claude is Anthropic, which is a Google subset. It's more pragmatic and it's more trained to be ethically um, adherent and compliant to certain things. So you'll like GPT will go anywhere you want it to go. Gemini will not, and Claude will do less. But I think that I like the language Claude outputs for if you want to draft articles and then go back and revision. But I feel like, and maybe this is just me, but you're seeing these words that are flagging when I read things and I see unlock, or if I see certain words that I know GPT overuses, it immediately takes the personal association with it out of it and it no longer resonates. Like a robot did that. And I'm trying to do business with a person.
Yeah, not a robot. So, yeah, and, Bill Gross, who has the Idea Lab, has another large language model that he's starting to put out too. So he's got competition, obviously, amongst the top 3, but his is very different from a sense of if you ask it a question, it will answer your question and give you the references where it got the information from, which I find very interesting. Um,
I think Perplexity does that. I think that's one of their tenets. Is to
yeah.
be very source based.
But all right, so we can use the 3, choose whichever one you want, I assume, that you're most comfortable with. You like Microsoft, you go with ChatGPT. If you like Google, you go with Gemini,
And then
whatever.
Google integrates with the whole Google Workspace, and so the AI studio, like AI is fantastic. And what I think AI also supports is it gives us the accessibility to do coding and like the learning curve between coding and what it was before has significantly declined. And with the coding, with Python, with JavaScript, and automate all of the things, the only challenge between that is to ask it the right questions in the right sequence. But making dashboards of your information, if you have like an ad set here, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, say, and you want to consolidate it into a dashboard, it can create a software for you, which is uh, outstandingly impressive. But you got to ask the right questions to get there. And it's easy to get lost because the machine will take you kind of wherever
Yep.
guided to. Um, but
Yeah, where it wants to go, not necessarily where you want it to go.
And I think it's like, and for a lover, like I'm a big fan of words. I love reading, but it's changing the dynamic of how we interact and we speak with each other because of like if you're hanging out, you're interacting with the chatting with the robot. It's like a text message, and it's using these different words, and it changes what you say into what it thinks you want to say, which doesn't sound bad, but that's a problem because it's not what you said. And now again, we're losing the person.
Yeah, and the thing is it's trying to interpret what you meant, and so that's why I mean, especially with marketing campaigns, you've got to be very direct and very specific and ask the right questions in the right sequence in order for you to get actual data out of it.
I think that's why it's important because you're gonna like if you lean into the output, and we're talking specifically generative AI here, that its output may not be something it sounds really good, but you didn't say that. But you're gonna if you say it in a marketing campaign, you are you're a leader in your industry, just being present in a business and an organization. You have a responsibility to own the things that you say. Now you have to own something that maybe you didn't say.
So, very good. Bo, final thoughts and give us the website and your email again, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, we Level Up Limited, we empower contractors step beyond their daily operations and claim ownership of their business. It's done through leadership and love doing it and helping people out. Visit us at lifehaslevels.com or shoot me an email at beau@lifehaslevels.com.
Bo, thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks, Ruth.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.